Good afternoon, Facebook friends and family. Thank you for joining us again at one of our wonderful Facebook interviews that we get to do with one of our amazing community partners. Today, we've got Magda with us from Amethyst House. Thank you so much for joining us.
I am so excited, Amber. Hi, everyone. Hi, Facebook.
So why don't you first start by just telling us a little bit about Amethyst?
Yeah, Amethyst is relatively brand new. We've been in Bakersfield for about 3 years, Southwest Bakersfield. We're a women's structured sober living, and I just thought Bakersfield needed something that, no offense to anybody, but, that didn't look like a trap house when you walked in, and just, a sense of community and just a sense of pride for the women that have come through here and that are going to be coming through here. And it just needed like that real strong female vibe and that just like a tribe. So we're excited to start building that.
Absolutely. And I have been through your house and it is beautiful. I know you're sitting in your house right now. So that kind of is just a tiny little glimpse of, it's just beautiful. It's very serene, very comfortable. It really promotes a good therapeutic setting. So my hat's off to you for creating such a great safe space for women.
Thank you. It was something important to us because, I got sober in Los Angeles and I was lucky to be surrounded in a community. I needed treatment, so I went, and I was lucky enough to be surrounded in a community that when you walked in, you just immediately felt like that family bond. And it was called community recovery because it was based on the idea that it takes a village. And I was able to bring that into Bakersfield, and I was able to bring that into the home. And that was something that I wanted when women come into the home, that they have this sense of like they can take a breath and it just, their shoulders relax a little bit and somehow they feel a little bit safer when they walk in. And that's really important, the foundation for safety in regards to somebody recovering. It's, if you're constantly looking over your shoulder and constantly not trusting your surroundings, how can you start to trust other people and how can you let yourself feel safe? So that was really, really important when we opened this up and started.
So talking a little bit about sobriety and addiction and, people's path, their own path to recovery. Can you talk to me a little bit about, what somebody should be looking for? So, say I've got a family member and I'm concerned, what are some of the things they should be looking for? What are some of the steps that they should be taking?
Usually, what's really, and I say it's really funny, but usually the alcoholic or the addict is the last one to know. The family sees it first and the family starts to see the problems first. And the person that's struggling, they're like, oh, this is fine. They think everybody else is the problem. And so family members, they see it before most other people do that are in recovery. Because they're the ones that are dealing with the person and things, a lot of lying, a lot of manipulation. My own personal story was you try to hide it. You try to cover it up as much as possible because there is shame. You feel guilty for your behavior. You feel guilty about how you're acting. And that this isn't the lifestyle that you're choosing for yourself, but somehow you're in it and you just can't stop. And family members see that, things to look out for. I mean, if your wife or daughter, prescription pills is a common one. Things tend to go missing in the house. People steal to keep their addiction going. So family members see it and they know, but a lot of times they don't want to acknowledge it yet. And they think that maybe it's not as big of a problem until, you start getting the DUIs or the hospitalizations or, incarceration. So just early on, you start to see, the behavior patterns change a lot. And you just kind of see somebody that starts withdrawing. And they just don't, they're just not themselves anymore.
Absolutely. Now, with everything that's been going on with the COVID-19 situation, it seems like addiction is getting a little bit more press, if you will. People are talking about it a lot more because they're really seeing an uptick in individuals that are abusing, opiates, some kind of drugs. Alcohol is really, really, really big. Have you noticed that in, the amount of people that are trying to utilize your services, or just, in what you're hearing and seeing?
Yeah, it was really, really tough when AA and NA decided to start closing their doors for meetings, because the last thing that anybody in recovery, especially new in recovery, should be doing is isolating. And what were we asked to do? We were asked to be socially distant. We were asked to isolate. For somebody that's struggling in addiction, that's the worst case scenario. So my heart goes out to people that early on in recovery were trying to get through this. We have gotten calls. We actually have a woman that is going to be coming in later today to tour with her mom. Our phone has rang more just because people are reaching out. The families at this point, because now you don't have work and you don't have school to go to. So now this person's at home, and now the family is like, okay, we thought there was a problem. Now it's definitely apparent when somebody's sleeping all day or intoxicated, or so many items have gone missing. So I've been talking a lot more to family members about people coming in and just looking for support, because this is the worst time in recovery for somebody to be alone. And that's when we just, as a community, we started opening up our doors in terms of, allowing people. I know that there was a lot of places that weren't taking people in, and that just broke my heart, because this is when people need somebody the most. So we went through the necessary measures to make sure that, somebody who didn't show the signs and symptoms of corona, we actually had thermometers. We had everybody. My mom's so cute. She's over here next to me, and she made face masks for everyone. So we tried to support everybody as much as possible, because this, in terms of like being alone during this time, the worst possible thing for an addict or an alcoholic that's new and trying to get sober and clean.
Absolutely. So for somebody that's at home, they're isolating themselves. Maybe they are really struggling with their recovery, or maybe they're just starting to think about going down that path of recovery. What would be your tip to them? What would your advice be to them?
Start reaching out. A lot of people have a lot of shame in asking for help. And that, I personally had to learn and say it's okay to say I'm not okay. And I think a lot of people, whether it's addiction or no addiction, struggle saying that. So being able to be okay and say, hey, you know what? I'm not doing all right today. I need help. That's the first step. And I'm always available. My phone number is 213-300-8853. I will block you if you're weird, but I will 100% pick up the phone calls for you and support any woman or any man. I'll refer to the men in recovery to just talk. A lot of people just need somebody to talk to, and just pick up the phone and say, I'm not okay, and just know that somebody's getting support and somebody's on the other end of the line.
Absolutely. So if somebody right now who's watching this is thinking, okay, I need to take the first step, and I'm a female and I would like to be a part of Amethyst, how do they get a hold of you?
213-300-8853. That is my cell phone number. I will always pick up a call. Text me. You can reach me via Facebook. You can reach out through Amber. Just saying I need somebody to talk to. There's been women in the community that have wanted to come to Amethyst and it hasn't worked out, and that's okay. I'm still in touch with them. When we were able to go to meetings, I'll still come by and pick you up and take you to a meeting. I've told women that Amethyst is a safe place for them to be, that if they just need somewhere, that they're just bored at home, come by. I will welcome you. If you are struggling and you need help, and there's nobody else out there that's picking up the phone, call me. Call any of the women. We will come by. We will hang out with you. We talk about this as being a community and being a family. You can't get sober by yourself. You have to start asking. You have to start reaching out and asking for help and being okay with that, and that's a big thing, just being able to say help, or just, and that's all.
Yeah, absolutely. It is absolutely okay to get help. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, my last question to you is kind of combining addiction and mental health. So I've just been kind of asking the question of everybody. If tomorrow you woke up and there was no more stigma surrounding mental health or addiction, what does that look like for you, for your family, for our community?
I actually got a little teary-eyed right now when you just asked me that. And there's no shame. You know, there's so many people that don't get help because they're ashamed, because there is that stigma. And if there's no stigma, there's no shame, there's nothing holding anybody back from asking for help. And that to me would just be a 100% to have a supportive and inviting community where people, you know, when it comes to mental health, that looks like depression, that looks like anxiety, for somebody to be at work and say, hey, you know what, I feel anxious, and to not feel like coworkers are going to judge you, you know, to get that support. And God, wouldn't we be in such a better place? Wouldn't it be such a nicer world if we could just show each other that love and support rather than judgment, you know? Yeah. Not one of us is better than another. So if we could just love, you know, that's all we need. As cheesy as it sounds, you know, without that judgment, there's so much health, there's so much growth, and there's so much potential for everyone.
Absolutely. Well, Magda, thank you so much for being with me today and talking to us about such an important topic. And one more time, a phone number in case they need to reach out.
213-300-8853. We also have a website, amethystsoberliving.com. And we have a Facebook page, Amethyst Sober Living. And our Instagram page is, my dog's over here. He just has to come over here and say hello. And we have an Instagram page that's actually run by the women at Amethyst that get, come on, buddy, you gonna come in here for the last part? No, yeah. So they actually run that page, and they're the ones that you know, post everything. So get a hold of me.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much. And I tell my Facebook friends and family out there that if you need help, it's okay. It is okay to ask for help. People like Magda, people like us, we're here for you anytime, day or night. We understand the struggle, and we just want to be there to support you and support our community.
Absolutely. And we're here for the families as well, because it's not just addicts. You know, the parents need support, the sisters need support, the husbands are like, I don't know why she's like this. Right. So we have families that call, and just even after the women leave, that we still stay in touch with, because everybody needs help afterwards too.
That's right. You know, it takes a village, right? It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to help somebody down their path to recovery. So only together as a community can we make our community better. All right. Well, thank you again, Magda, for joining us. And it was wonderful to talk to you again.
Thank you. Bye, Amber.